We are back. It's the SHW Off-Road Daily Drop. Thanks for joining us. If you've been here before, welcome back. If it's your first time, we do this every day, so make sure you come back, like, and subscribe. But let's get right into it. Today we're going to talk about pros and cons of seat deletes, or really just thoughts around seat deletes in general. I'm going to start with some of the cons. If you're going to buy a pre-manufactured seat delete, they're going to be expensive. Only a few companies make them. They are not cheap. A lot of people are flabbergasted by the price of a piece of plywood and some kind of framing structure underneath, if it even has a framing structure. Why would they pay $700 or $800 to buy said unit? There's tons of valid reasons why our seat deletes cost what they do, and why Goose Gears cost what they do, but there's no getting around it. It can be expensive buying a manufactured one. That being said, it's an easy one to DIY. But there are some reasons why maybe you shouldn't DIY. Maybe it's worth going manufactured, but I'm going to talk about that later. But that's the first con. They're expensive to buy. Okay. Con number two, they're limited in their functionality usually, right? So you go out, you spend $700, $800. That's on a section. $1,500 for a full seat delete, maybe a back wall, and all it is a flat space to put your gear. Right. The moment you put your gear on top of it, you lose access to the cubbies underneath, which is supposed to be some sort of organization system. So they're limited in their functionality, and you can outgrow them pretty dang quick. So if you're going to buy a seat delete, prepare to also either build or invest in an organization system to go with that seat delete, right? So instead of just a seat delete, consider putting in a drawer module on top, or building some kind of organization tower on top of it, so that you have a multi-layered organization system that serves you and serves you better, and really is going to increase the functionality of a seat delete, by dividends. Seat deletes are great for like having a flat space for fridges, for dogs and stuff like that, right? But outside of that, functionality can be limiting with seat deletes. That's why we came out with the Jeep Gladiator seat delete. It is an incredible system. I'll show you a little bit of it here in a second. And we're trying to figure out ways maybe we can implement some of the features in the Jeep Gladiator seat delete in other vehicles. It's not going to be possible in all of them, but we do think we can bring it to some, so stay tuned on that. But I'm going to dive into some reasons why you should buy a pre-manufactured seat delete now. Number one, aesthetics. There's nothing like the aesthetics of a pre-made seat delete. It's that thing when you look at a DIY seat delete, usually you can tell right away it was made in someone's garage. It might look fine and it functions fine, but usually you can tell very quickly if a seat delete has been DIY'd. Whereas if you look at our seat deletes, or you look at Goose Gears, you can tell that they're pro, that they're made by people that do this every single day and every single week and stuff like that. And the reason ours look the way they do, we 3D scan a vehicle, we design in that 3D environment, we hug contours, we take advantage of every square inch, and that's why they look so good. Okay, so aesthetics is rule number one. Rule number two is space utilization, right? We can do things like access panels with finger holes. We can do things like integrated slides, drawer slides in our seat deletes. We can do contoured paneling and stuff like that. And all of that just leads to better functionality. You have more space to work with. You have easier access to that space. You can do that. Usually, it is possible to DIY it. A ton of people do, but it's harder when you start talking about cutting out access panels and installing latches and stuff like that. It takes time, it takes effort. Usually you're going to strike out a couple times before you get it right. And honestly, the project's just going to add up pretty quick. And your time's going to add up really quick, and really it's up to you how much you truly value your time. But those are a couple things, a couple reasons why you should buy a pre-manufactured unit. And I want to show you this, if I can, something that we do that is just above and beyond anything, just any other manufacturers do, but well beyond what most DIY setups look like. So because we saw some of the shortcomings of seat deletes, we saw a space and a way to greatly improve the functionality of seat deletes, we went in really hard on the Jeep Gladiator seat delete design that we've come up with, right? So right away, you can see it's way more than just a seat delete. We have the seat delete, we have the middle panel, and then we have what we happily have named the upper decker, okay? It's 3 sections. The seat delete, the bottom section is not a normal seat delete, right? When I was talking about, multi-level functionality and organization systems, we have an integrated drawer in the base of the seat delete. So what that means is when you take all your gear and you pile it on the deck of this thing, you can still have access to the contents because that drawer opens up to the outside of the vehicle, right? So we've solved a major problem there. But look at all the tiers. You've got this drawer, which is a tier, but you also have a tier underneath the drawer, technically, in this footwell area. You have concealed storage, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiers of organization in a seat delete bundle from SHW Off-Road, which is just killer, right? So these are some of the things that are really hard to DIY a system like this and to do it well and as functional as we've done it. You've got the sliding panels in the middle and the upper decker, which you can get with Kaizen foam. We do foam. They have locking paddle latches on them. You can do foam, you can do MOLLE panel, all kinds of stuff, right? This is what I'm talking about, you know, for a multifunctional setup. But if you're going to invest in, like, let's say a goose gear setup, you should probably look at maybe drawer units that open outside the door on the deck, or just plan on building something, because it's really going to elevate the functionality of the seat delete. You know, seat deletes on their own, they're great, they're cool, they give you a nice flat area to work with, but that's about it. So consider that. Lastly, is it right for you? A lot of people get kind of hung up on removing their seats, deleting their seats, and it's a simple question, really. Is your life more affected by not having an organization system in your rear seat, or is it more affected by not having seats for passengers? And if you sit in the middle there, just delete a section of your seat, right? So it doesn't have to be a hard question. When you really sit down and think about it, I think you'll come up with an answer pretty quick. But if you have questions for us, that's what we're here for. That's what other manufacturers are here for. That's what our fantastic dealers are there for. Talk to them, talk to us. We have all kinds of thoughts, and we can help you decide whether seat delete is really worth the investment for you or not. Most cases it is. But thanks again for watching. We're here every single day. Come back tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see you next time, and let us know what you want to hear or want to talk about in the future. All right, bye-bye.